my time's come. And today I announce my retirement from the National Football League and the Dallas Cowboys. And it was 12 of the best years of my life, professionally speaking. We had some great fun. And I look back over it, and the people that I had a chance to get to know, the friendships that we've established, walking away from that's hard. I've been playing this game since I was 7 years old, and to all of a sudden recognize that you're not going to be doing it anymore is hard. Off at the pro shop there at Arizona Stadium, Sun Devil Stadium, and buying a cowboy hat and walking out with it and feeling like my fate was sealed, that I was going to become a cowboy. And that particular day, it was probably the last day that I ever rooted for Green Bay to win a football game. But yeah, I'm glad that it happened when it did. And I wound up being drafted #1 by the Dallas Cowboys, and it was a very meaningful time. I take great pride in being drafted that year #1, and being Jerry Jones's first player picked. Daryl mentioned it when he retired a year ago, Daryl Johnston, and that draft class in '89 consisted of myself, Daryl Johnston, Mark Stepnoski, and Tony Tolbert. And it's a class that I'm really proud of. Proud not just because of the talent that those guys were, but more importantly because of the type of people that they were. And you know, I really believe that it was the character of those type of guys and the character that we had with other guys that allowed us to achieve some of the things that we did when we were winning Super Bowls. One of the most meaningful things in my career is coming in with that class of guys, because it was a great group and had a huge part in the success of the Dallas Cowboys over the years. You'll have to bear with me getting through this thing today. It's certainly a lot more emotional than I ever thought that it would be. Ron, I hope you're getting good shots there while you're crawling around. I look back 12 years ago. He's the best, isn't he? I look back to our first training camp, and I don't know if Steps here. I saw DJ here a little bit earlier, and our first training camp in 1989 was our last training camp in Thousand Oaks. And we had just flown in. At that time, they still had rookies report early. And once we became veterans, we were very disappointed that rookies no longer had to report early. But when I came into the league, we did. So training camp was about 6 or 7 weeks for us. And we got into Thousand Oaks, and it was me, DJ, and Step, and we're walking around. We signed pretty good contracts, you know, going into training camp, but we still didn't think we could afford to buy a rental car. So we were walking around Thousand Oaks and just talking about the very next day, and the very next day was going to be the first day of two-a-days, and under Jimmy Johnson, and we were not looking forward to it, and we were all talking that we could not wait until our 10th year so that we could retire from the game of football. Before we ever even got into it, we knew that 10 years was going to be as long as we could take. And I think that had we have known how tough it really was going to be, we probably would have retired right there on the spot before we ever even got into our first training camp. My first year, we were 0-11 I was 0-11 as a starter, and it was a painful year. And if anything during that time, at the time, I didn't think I was learning anything other than, how to get real sore after every ball game. But looking back on it and getting through that first season, I learned a great deal, and I learned how hard it was to win in this league. And it's something that carried with me throughout my entire career, that it's not easy to win. I don't care how good you are or how talented you are or everything going your way. It's hard to win in this league, and you got to have some things that fall into place for you, and everything has to be in alignment. And that didn't happen for us our first year. And I was 0-11. We were 1-15, and but I learned some very, very valuable lessons. And I really credit Jerry Rome and Babe Laufenberg, as a matter of fact, was a backup quarterback at that time. And between the two of them, they wouldn't allow me to lose confidence. And I think maybe sometimes you can look at that and say that's an insignificant, input for a quarterback. But I can't tell you how important it was when you're losing each and every week to have those guys continually build you up and give you confidence, because a lot of quarterbacks in this league get through the season and it ruins them. And they did not allow that to happen to me, and I really credit those two guys for making that happen. And then in then we started to win. And in 1991, we brought in Norv Turner. And in my opinion, he was the biggest influence on this football team at that time, and put in a system that really allowed some young players that we had at that time to flourish and excel. And we were a young, talented team at that particular time. And we had Emmett, Michael, Jay Novacek, Darren Woodson, Kevin Smith, Eric Williams, Ken Norton, Charles Haley, Russell Maryland. We had a group of guys that not only were talented, but they wanted to win and wanted to prove something. And it was a time that was very special. We didn't, however, win on talent alone. It wasn't just the talent that we had that allowed us to go on and have the great success that we had. I am so happy to have the opportunity to play for a team that was very unselfish, and we had no superstars. I think Michael and Emmett will both tell you that in those years, first of all, we didn't know how good we were. And Michael was trying to make a name for himself and show everybody that he could play. Emmett, we just drafted Emmett, and he's wanting to make a name for himself. I'd been through a year or two struggling, and we all wanted to do something really special, and it was a group that just loved to play. And there was no animosity, there was no selfishness, there was nobody wanting any more credit than the next guy. We just wanted to win, and we were able to do that. And there have been a lot more teams in this league that have been more talented than what those teams were that we played on, but they didn't come close to accomplishing what we were able to accomplish, primarily because the chemistry of that ball club and the unselfish manner in which we played. You can't beat that combination, and I was very thankful to be a part of that. And the work ethic that we had. I still remember Wade Wilson in 1995, and he said what amazed him was we practiced harder than any team he had ever played on Sundays. And I know that that's true. Every coach that has ever come through here that's come for another program has commented on the way that this club practices. Michael Irvin, he ran routes every single day that I was throwing the football as though it was a Super Bowl. And when you have that kind of commitment, you're going to win games. And that's what we had. And Jay Novacek out there catching 100 passes before each and every practice. And it was those guys that allowed us to be what we became. And in my opinion, there are no secrets to success. It's not some hidden formula as to how a team goes on and does well. And we were good during those years because we had good players, but we were also good because we had great people. And we had people that wanted to prove something, and we had people that loved each other, and we had people that enjoyed playing together. And being a part of that was really special. I've always said that over my career that it's not always the most talented team that wins, but it's a team that unselfishly plays towards a common goal that allows you to become a champion. And that's what it was. And I think that, you know, maybe over recent years we've lost sight of that. That it's become a game that everybody's in it for themselves, and everybody wants to showcase themselves, and everybody wants the credit. And the fact that I got to spend a good part of my career being around players that was not something that was important to them, but rather the team was more important. Few guys get that chance, and I got to, so I'm very appreciative of that. You know, when I look back over, you know, you start putting some thoughts together, and you know, what you're going to miss, and the things that are really important to you playing. I'm going to miss the camaraderie with my teammates. I mean, everybody says that. Everybody who ever retires talks about what it's like to play, you know, in a family, in a locker room. You go through the blood, sweat, and tears. You go through training camp, mini camps. You're out there on the field. It's fourth quarter. You're down by 6, and, you know, 2 minutes to go. And I mean, you find out what people are made of, and in a lot of ways, you find out more about those people that you play with than you do your own family, because it's a high-pressure game, and there's a lot at stake. And I don't know what it's like for a lot of these other teams in the National Football League, but I can promise you, when you play for the Dallas Cowboys, there's a lot of pressure out there to go out and get something done. And you find out what people are made of. And you know, I played during that stretch. I played with guys that I tell you what, I know more about them than I do some of my own kin and blood. And I would go to battle with them all the time, and we unfortunately began to lose some of those guys, and that's part of it. And you got to replace them, and you move on. And the other thing I'm going to miss the locker room after a big game. I remember going in the locker room after big games, and I remember just recently in 99, I believe it was, when we beat Miami here on Thanksgiving, and Jerry was pretty excited. Hell, I was pretty excited, and you know, and those moments and those championship games, when you win those, and the feeling of accomplishment. The great thing about sports, the great thing about football, is that it's immediate, and you spend 6 days preparing for a game, and then you get to see, okay, did everything that we do pay off? I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss the tough losses. I'm going to miss being in that locker room after a tough loss, because I don't think you duplicate that. I don't think that the highs and lows of this game, whatever it is you do in life, I don't think that you can recreate that. And I'm going to miss that a lot. I'm going to miss the plane ride homes. I'm going to miss plane ride homes after a big win, and playing the card games with DJ and Wade Wilson and Jason and Dale Hellestray and Bill Bates and Bill, I hope it's okay to say you play cards. And but we had a lot of fun doing that. And I'm gonna miss the big games against the 49ers and Packers. You know, during that stretch, I used to get so excited about playing the 49ers during the regular season, because we knew that playing the 49ers during the regular season was going to determine whether or not we had home field advantage. And we won some of those and we lost some of those, but we just knew, okay, well, the next time we meet them, we're going to be meeting them there at their place, or we're going to be meeting them at our place, and the same thing goes through with the Packers. And those are the reasons you play the game. And I'm going to miss being a part of those special games. And I know there's a lot of media here that cover us, and they watch me and Abby go out and run each and every day, during the season, and we go out and take off running around Valley Ranch. I know Abby's around here somewhere, and I'm going to miss jogging with Abby, even though he's always 100 yards behind me, and I may as well have been running by myself. But Abby, wherever you are, I miss that. And I know what you're thinking right now, wherever you are. But I'll tell you what, one of the things I won't miss, I'm not going to miss being in that locker room and explaining to the press how it is that we lost that game, because I threw into a crowd of 4 defenders and it got intercepted, and what in the hell could you have possibly been thinking? So some of the things I won't miss is a good thing. There's a number of people that I need to acknowledge for what they've done for me personally, as well as for what they've done for the Dallas Cowboys. And first and foremost on that list is the man here to my right, Jerry Jones. And I am so fortunate, and I've said it many, many times, to have had the opportunity to play for an owner that winning was important. And you can count those guys on one hand that want to go out and win football games. And Jerry wanted to, and he still does. It hadn't ended, but he's always wanted to win. And as a quarterback, knowing that ultimately you're judged on whether or not you win or lose, and to know that he was always doing everything that he could possibly do to give this football team and this franchise a chance to go on and be successful, I can't say enough about how special that is to me. And Jerry and I forged a tremendous relationship, and it certainly transpired anything that may have been there business-wise. I think of Jerry as a very good friend. I appreciate what he's done for this club, and I don't think that we would have accomplished anything that we've accomplished here over the 12 years that I've been here without, his leadership and his direction. So I think he's certainly to be applauded, and that holds true for the entire Jones family. This is a family-owned business. Jerry makes it very clear that that's the case, and they do a great job. And Stephen and Jerry and Charlotte and Mrs. Jones, I know what this means to y'all, and I know you suffer with the losses just like we do, probably more so. And I'm just thankful to have been a part of that. And I know our relationship will continue. I'm looking forward to watching you win a few more Super Bowls. And I know that'll happen because I know that he's committed to that. Next, I'd like to thank the probably most importantly in my book is the offensive line, and it's a group of guys that they don't receive enough credit for what happens, and yet if you talk to any coach, Dave Campbell will be the first guy to tell you that. Hey, we got to get some production out of those offensive and defensive lines. I mean, that's where it all starts. And yet, when it's all said and done, nobody wants to give those guys enough credit. And you think about it, they get up there and they bang on each other and protect me for throwing the football. They open up holes for Emmitt Smith, and they really, in the grand scheme of things, do not nearly get appreciated for what they should. And I just want to acknowledge those guys. And over the years, I've given, Christmas gifts to these guys, and it's not, it's not in the traditional sense that you just exchange gifts. I did it for those guys to try to somehow convey to them how important they were and how meaningful they were for our success as a football team, because I played behind some of the greatest offensive linemen that will have ever played this game. And and I'm certainly appreciative of that. And I've got a list of names, and I'm going to leave some guys out, and I apologize for doing that if I did. But some of those guys that have blocked for me over the years, Dave Wydell, Crawford Kerr, Ron Stone, Tony Hudson, Ray Donaldson, Clay Shiver, Jorge Diaz, Everett McIver, Kevin Gogan, God bless his soul, Solomon Page, Flozell Adams, John Giesick, and then the ones that protected me the most over my career. And there's certainly a real affinity on my part for those guys. And the late Mark Tuinei and what he meant, Nate Newton, Mark Stepnoski, Eric Williams, and Larry Allen. Those guys have been with me the longest. And Larry, I don't know if you're here or not, but you know, Larry has a chance to be arguably the best offensive lineman that's ever played the position, and I'm honored to have had the opportunity to play behind him. I think he is, without question, one of the best players that I've ever played with, and I just appreciate his work ethic and the way that he approached the game week in and week out. I think when you go through a career, there are certain people that become, you know, very close to you, not only professionally, but as well as personally. And you go through a lot with these guys, and they mean a great deal to you. And the first two, Emmett and Michael. And you know, we were always known as the triplets. When Michael came in 1988, I came in 1989, and then Emmett came in 1990. And I was very proud. I loved it when they called us the triplets. I mean, that yeah, it meant a lot to me. You know, the way these guys went about doing their business. Told Emmett when I saw him earlier, there's nothing I would have loved more than to be on the field when he broke Walter Payton's record. And anyway, I wish I could be there for you, Emmett. I think of Michael Irvin, and Michael and I, and my family will tell you, Michael, that I have a hard time bringing up Michael's name without getting real emotional, because of the relationship that we had, we still have. And I've never been around a more unselfish player than Michael Irvin. And I think the people that don't understand Michael, they would never understand that. But Michael was a guy who he worked hard. He worked. He gave it everything he had, and he's the reason we had success. When Michael Irvin left his football team, a big part of us was lost, and Michael knows what I think about him. And I wish there were more guys like him. I had a funny conversation. I was out there I was out in training camp last year, and I was having dinner with some of the receivers, and Joey Galloway and Rocket Ismail and Wayne McGarity and James McKnight. This was last year, going to last season, and they asked me, they said, why was Michael Irvin so good? He wasn't very fast, you know, couldn't run by people. What made him so good? And I said, let me tell you something. Michael Irvin worked every day like it was the last day of his life. And that's why he was so good. And I know there are people in this room that are covering this today that still have no idea what an impact Michael Irvin made to our football team. But he was the best. He was the best, and he made it happen. And I'm honored to have had a chance to play for him. Daryl Johnston. Daryl, in my opinion, is a consummate professional. I sit there in the locker room, and I'd be in the training room, and I'd see guys, they say, well, they don't think they can go, and you know, they're banged up, and they've got some injuries, and they not sure whether or not they're going to be able to practice that day or whatever it is. And Daryl, I'm not so sure we didn't have the same father, because Daryl strapped it on every day, and he played, and he practiced, and he fought his butt off, and he never complained, never said a word. And I'm telling you, firsthand, I've seen him with contusions that there are guys that you would have read about it for 2 weeks that have missed games, and nobody knows what Daryl went through because he never said anything. He was never on the injury report, never complained, and yet he was out there each and every week. And he is, in my opinion, the most consummate professional that I have ever seen in my life. And it gives me, and to go back, it gives me great satisfaction knowing that we came in together. I love that, because Mark Stepnoski, he's another guy. And I'm not sure if Mark's here today, but who better would you like to have protecting you at center? I mean, this guy, he busted his tail each and every day and knew the importance of the game and what it meant. And those guys that I had a chance to play with that were like that, and they understood the urgency and the professionalism that was involved, that's why we won. Bottom line, that is why we won. And you can talk about talent, you can talk about a lot of things, but we won because we had great character, and we had guys who laid it on the line each and every week, and winning was important to them. And it wasn't about them, it was about the team winning. Jay Novacek. Jay Novacek is, in my opinion, the most underappreciated player that I have ever played with for what he's done. If Jay Novacek is not inducted in the Hall of Fame, to me it'll be a crime, because people do not appreciate what he meant, how good he was, and in my opinion, our offensive struggles began when Jay Novacek was no longer on our football team. He was able to do things that, unless you watch the film, you would not understand how good he really was. Dale Hellestray, got a pretty good gig. I'm going to learn to snap before the summer's over.
It would have made the difference.
And I think he knows how good a job he's got, and that's why he wants to keep playing. But I'm gonna miss being in the locker, night before games. He came by my room every night for 11 years, and before every ball game, and I would unload my soul. And there were times when things were a little rough, and he had to hear me out a little bit longer. But he always listened. He was always there to really help me, get my mind right, I guess, for the ball game. And those people, as we all know, those are few and far between. And Dale was certainly one of those guys for me. And the other guy I'd like to mention is Jason Garrett. And it was a big blow to me not having him this year in Dallas. I've never been around somebody who can evaluate a situation and have such a great influence on people, and always so positive and upbeat. And I can't tell you over the years what he meant to my success and for this football team. And I kid him. I say, hey, if you're not president of the United States, then you've really you've sold yourself short, because he's that type of guy, and I think that'll happen for him. Next, coaches. I have been blessed to be with some tremendous coaches over my career. And I won't start all the way back to Pop Warner, but literally that's where it began. And I have always been around really good coaches, and without them, I never would have been able to achieve the things that I've been able to achieve. And I started at Oklahoma University, and Barry Switzer, he was my head coach at Oklahoma. And he was a great recruiter. There was nobody like him as far as recruiting players. And how else do you explain a 6'4" white kid who runs a 4.8 going to Oklahoma to run the wishbone? He sold me it, and I thought I was going to be a hell of a player for him, but didn't happen. But I know there's been a lot of talk about our relationship over the years, but I really do have a tremendous amount of respect for him and what he's accomplished as a football coach and the type of person that he is. And I talked to him recently and really think the world of him. And my offensive coordinators when I was at Oklahoma, Mac Brown, who's now the head coach at the University of Texas, he coached me my freshman year, arguably the most disciplined, toughest coordinator that I've ever played for. And Jim Donnan, who was with the University of Georgia, and now I'm not real sure exactly where he's at, but he was my coordinator my second year there at Oklahoma. And then I moved on to UCLA, and Terry Donahue became my head coach there. And I've said many times, Terry Donahue, I have as much respect for him as any person I have ever known in my life. And he really taught me about being a team player. We would have visits once a week in his office, and he would talk to me and teach me. And I was a young guy, just wanting to absorb as much information as I could. And he was a tremendous influence for me, and someone who I still have a very close relationship with and admire a great deal. Rick Neuheisel, he tutored me at UCLA during my redshirt year, and then later became my quarterback coach. And Rick really taught me what playing quarterback was all about. And I don't think that I would have been able to get to the level that I was able to in college without his help. Spent a lot of time with me and was very patient with me and made a great influence. And Steve Aikman was my offensive coordinator at UCLA, and he was the first quarterback coach that I ever had, first coordinator, that just really liked to throw the football. And that was fun. That was fun for the 1 year that it happened. And then I came to Dallas. So, but I enjoyed the time with him, and he taught me a lot as well. And then I moved into Dallas, and Jimmy Johnson, who, things started off a little bit rocky with Jimmy, and kind of, seeing eye to eye and all that. And I think a lot of it had to do with Jimmy misunderstanding a little bit of, my competitiveness and how much winning was important to me, and I know it was important to him as well. And we forged a great relationship there, towards the end. And I've never been around a coach that has been able to run a football team in the manner in which he was able to do it. He really knew when to push a football team. He knew when to pull back.
Those of you on ESPN2, we will send you now to Classic Vintage NBA. We'll be back with you at 5 o'clock. The rest of you stay with us for the news conference
the football team at that particular time, it was a good situation. And Jimmy did a great job of running the club during that time. Then, as I mentioned earlier, in 1991, Norv Turner came in as offensive coordinator. And Norv is, first of all, he's one of my closest friends. And, we established that friendship over a short period of time. And he was here for just 3 short years. But I really credit Norv with so much of my success. And he came in and put a system in place that allowed me to feel comfortable with my skills and my abilities, and along with Emmett and Michael and Novacek, and made it all happen. And to this day, he's like a brother to me. And in fact, I spoke to him on the way over here today, and it's so many times people come in and out of your lives in such short periods, and for he and I to be able to gravitate towards each other in the way that we were able to do means a lot. And his friendship is something that I take tremendous pride in, and his whole family. And then we move on to Ernie Zampese. And I thought I saw Ernie here a minute ago, but Ernie's the godfather, and he's the one who started this whole system. Norv learned from him, brought it in, and I'll never forget when Norv was leaving to go to Washington, I asked him.
Troy Aikman was the Cowboys' all-time leader in passing yards, touchdowns, and completion percentage. His postseason record was 11-4, including 3 Super Bowl victories. His 6 Pro Bowl selections tied Roger Staubach for the most appearances by a Dallas quarterback. Let's rejoin Troy Aikman's news conference, going on live now at Texas Stadium.
That wasn't my forte, but I really great friendship, and appreciate the competitiveness and his professionalism and approach to the ball club. And those guys don't come around very often. And you do a great job. Now, it's taking a little longer, I'm sure, than what anybody had thought that it would. But there's a number of people within the organization that I think deserve credit and recognition for what they've done for me, as well as what they've done for this organization. And these people, and I won't elaborate on each and every one of them, but just know that I appreciate what they've done for this club professionally, and what their role is within the organization. But to me, it's about relationships. My whole career has been about relationships, and so these people are guys that have made an impact on me personally, and people that'll be friends for me for a long, long time. First of all, Rich Dalrymple and the entire PR staff of Brett, Doug, and Emily. And Rich has been a great friend, has helped me through some great times, and I certainly appreciate that. I remember, Rich, where are you? I remember back in '92, we were playing the 49ers at Candlestick in a championship game. Biggest game of our career at that time. Never even dreamed that we were going to win the game. You know, we were just going out and playing. And, you know, we played awfully well. We win the game. We're going to the Super Bowl the first time. Rich has got me doing all kinds of interviews following that game. And I'm rushing from one interview to the next. And, you know, I got my bags, my luggage. We got to get on the bus. We got to get back to the airport. And so we finally get our bags together, and we're ready to get on the bus, and there's no bus. And Jimmy Johnson, in typical Jimmy Johnson fashion, said he wasn't waiting on anybody. So we didn't get a ride on the team bus. You know, it was only the biggest day of our career, and we rode the media bus and caught a ride over to the airport and got on the plane. But I thought that was a little insensitive of Jimmy's part. The equipment staff. I'll tell you what, these guys, they work. Arguably, coaches will, you know, they'll argue this point, but our equipment staff works harder, in my opinion, than anybody we got in our organization. And they do a great, great job. I think if you talk to other players on other teams, they have no idea, people on our team have no idea how good they get treated with our equipment staff. Buck Buchanan Sr., who started out, who is the absolute best, and there's no wonder why the equipment staff has continued to be as good as it's been, because they learned from him, that being Mike McCord, and his son, not Mike's son, but Bucky's son, Bucky Buchanan himself, and then Kevin and Al Walker. They do a tremendous, tremendous job. I'd also like to make notice of the strength coaches that I've had since I've been here. Mike Wojcik, who is unsurpassed, was a tremendous influence for all of us. I know DJ gave him a tremendous recommendation and acknowledgement when he retired a year ago, and rightfully so. He was outstanding. Joe Jurassic, who still is faxing me workouts, which I hope is okay. And the workouts are going quite well. Thank you very much, Joe. The training staff. Lord knows I've been in there enough times. I wasn't real big on rehab. I never really got into that, but when something was serious enough to where I felt like I needed to go in and see some folks, I did that. And Jim Maurer and Britt Brown and Bob and Warren, thanks for all the years, and you guys taking care of me. And I also want to mention Dr. Vandermeer, who performed some surgeries on me, as well as Drew Dossett, who's been great with my back here over the last season. Administration-wise, I want to make note of Bruce Mays, Craig Lieber, Steve Karakoff, Todd Williams, and Steve Landers. Steve Landers is a jack of all trades, and he can pretty much do it all. I've got a barn out in Collin County I'd like for you to build, Steve. When you get some time, I know that won't be a problem for you. Secretaries, Barbara Goodman, who's no longer with the organization, but she was just the apple in my eye. She was as nice as they come. She saw the whole gamut of head coaches come through, and was just a great, great lady, and glad to have had the opportunity to get to know her. Laura Fryer, Marge Anderson, and of course Jerry's right-hand gal, Marilyn Love. Marilyn, every time I call you, I know you got your plate full, but you juggle the balls pretty good. So thanks for all you've done for all of us, and I appreciate that.
Well, if this were the Oscars, a band would be playing Troy off right now. We're going to head back out to the news conference at Tiger Stadium as soon as Troy Aikman starts answering questions from the media. Kansas City and San Diego were just two of the teams that expressed interest in Troy Aikman's services, but he said he didn't want to play anywhere else. Now at Texas Stadium, he talks further about his retirement today.
when I really evaluate the health standpoint, the concussions, the back problems, and what moving would mean to the family. That really is what made the decision. That there were a couple of teams that I thought we can make this work. The family can make the move. They'll be okay. Beyond that, there were just too many uncertainties that I cared to get involved in as far as just trying to go play just to satisfy myself. I will tell one little story. My daughter Rachel, 11 years old, she doesn't know broadcasting from whatever. She doesn't know what broadcasting is. But she just felt that if we were to play football, if I was to play football, it meant that she was going to have to move. So, which is the last thing she wants to do. And I can relate to that. I moved when I was 12, and I wasn't real thrilled about it. But so we're at dinner one night, and Rachel out of nowhere says, she says, Troy says, what are you going to do? And I said, well, what do you mean, what am I going to do? She says, well, are you going to play football? And I said, well, you play football? And she said, well, she said, I think you're pretty good at it. And I said, well, that doesn't really answer the question. I said, you know, pretty good at it, but I said, what do you think? You think that does that mean that I should play football? And she stopped for a minute. She goes, I think you should broadcast. Because to her, that meant not moving, you know. And you start, you know, it's a new arena for me, you know. And when you start really evaluating the things and the people that you love and what's important to them, and you say, well, this is something that maybe I'd like to do, but how does that affect the people that you care about? And hey, I'm all about kids being comfortable and excelling, and I, you know, I was reluctant to do that. And but if I had wanted to play, you know, I could have played.
Any other questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
It's too kind. Too kind. Too kind.
Well, the numbers in descending order would be 12-year career, 9 concussions, 6 Pro Bowls, 3 Super Bowls, and 1 great quarterback. Troy Aikman retires today from the NFL. We've shown you the news conference live from Texas Stadium, and we welcome you to join Up Close tomorrow with Gary Miller. His special guest is Troy Aikman. That's on ESPN at 5:30 Eastern. Again, that's tomorrow on Up Close.
Be a one-team player after calling it quits today, deciding not to sign with another team.
Now he can be linked again to 3 Super Bowl titles instead of multiple concussions. Saying his time had come, Troy Aikman leaves the NFL at the age of 34. We now take a look back. The Cowboys made it official 2 days ago.
Troy Aikman, quarterback, UCLA. Aikman, a deep drop. Fires to Urban in the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Pump. Deep middle. There's Vermette. Caught. In for the touchdown. Play fake. Aikman rolling right. He's going to run it in. Touchdown, Cowboys. Aikman will drop straight in the pocket. Wants the deep one down the sideline. Wide open is going to be Urban. Touchdown.
There are no secrets to success. We were good during those years because we had good players, but we were also good because we had great people.